Welcome to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here with the lovely Jessica and her two beautiful daughters. I think we have Star, and then we have Victoria, known also as Tori. You guys are so cute. So, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background before we start, Jessica reached out to me about a week or two ago when I was actually still running my black and white pinup contest, where we were to submit a black and white photo and kind of like do a pearl of wisdom of what, this contest meant to them. And I got a lot of great submissions, a lot of great feedback from people just kind of like expressing how once they didn't understand quite what the Black Lives Matter movement meant, or what it really was to be in the middle of all this controversy and things that are going on. And Jessica, being the awesome person she is, actually seeked out more advice and more education for her beautiful daughters so that they can learn firsthand a little bit what's going on around them, because they're kind of like in the thick of it where they live right now. Is kind of smack dab in the middle of a lot of this controversy. And I know that she expressed that her daughter Star, over there in the corner, hi, has two friends that are African American. And what were their names again?
Leilani and Sapphire.
Yes. And is Leilani and Sapphire in the same grade as you?
Yes.
Yeah. Are they sisters or are they just friends?
They're just friends.
Okay. So, and just to kind of give people an idea where you do live, where do you live, Jessica?
We are between Lebanon and Reading.
Okay. So if you guys kind of know where that is, she's kind of like in the middle of like a lot of like what's going on is like around her, which can be scary because there's just so much, protesting and, stuff like that. So I kind of want to ask, because Star, you're in there in the corner really shaking your head there, that this is kind of scary. What is scary about it for you?
The fighting.
The fighting.
Where are you seeing it? Are you seeing it mostly on like TV? Have you seen it like in real life? Like, where do you see the fighting?
Where have you seen the videos? You can tell it. Oh, sorry, cat.
That happens in almost like 90% of my videos. A cat walks across the screen.
Cats, I'm sorry.
I don't usually see the videos. It just pops up on Tori's phone and I used to have it.
They pop up on their phones and tablets that they have.
Okay.
So with like everything live streaming mainly.
Yeah.
So
what?
Right. And
when you see that, Star, how does that make you feel when you see like the fighting and the protesting?
Scared.
Scared. Are you more scared because you don't like to see people hurt, or are you more scared because you think that they might come and like hurt you or hurt your friends? Okay. So do you understand why there's the protesting and fighting right now?
No.
No? Okay. What about you, Tori? Do you see any of this stuff too?
Yeah, on my phone. And
Yeah.
on my tab.
And how does that make you feel when you see it?
Kind of scared.
Yeah. And what makes you scared about it?
I'm scared they want to come near us.
That is really scary. I'm actually scared of the same thing. So we actually share the same kind of fear. And what about you, Mom? How do you feel about everything that you're seeing?
I am just more upset with how people treat others, because I always was taught, teach others how you want to be,
Yeah.
Treat others how you want to be treated. And I was stuck to that. So
Right.
No matter the person, no matter how they looked, dressed, color, whatever, I was like, okay, I want to be treated nice. I'm going to treat them nice.
Yeah.
And that's what taught them.
Yeah. Well, I see, Star, you're over there shaking your head adamantly that you agree with your mom, right? I love that. I agree with your mommy too. So
about kindness.
yes. I feel like the world just needs a little bit, like a big old hug right now. Like we just all need to just love each other, right? So I have a shirt that I wore for you guys today because I believe that this is exactly how I feel about everything. And we need to just all come together and it's
I
unite.
love
Isn't that really cool?
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about when I was a little girl, because I think that once you kind of know a little bit about me, you'll kind of understand why I'm so open to talk about this with you guys, and really happy to share my experiences to kind of make you guys a little bit less scared and a little bit more, having a little bit more understanding. So when I was your age, I too grew up in a mostly white neighborhood. I was actually the only African American in my whole entire school, from kindergarten to 6th grade. So I had friends like you, Star, and like you, Victoria, that, were my white friends who were very, very inquisitive, because I wore my hair different. I kind of talked a little different. And because of that, they had a lot of questions, because of the simple fact, um, they've never seen anyone like me. They've never came across another African American person. So they wanted to play with my hair. They asked me a lot of questions about like where my family was from, and it was kind of cool. And then sometimes it was kind of difficult, because I didn't feel like I fit in. Do you ever feel like you don't fit in?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard world for a little girl, especially little girls, because we have so many things that we want to try to be like, and we see on the news, and we see the famous people, and we want to be pretty like them and dressed like them. Well, your friend Leilani and your friend Sapphire, is it right? Is that right?
Yep.
They might be feeling the same kind of ways I felt growing up. They might not always feel like they fit in. They might feel like, because of the color of their skin or the way that their hair is, that they're just so different. But really, we're not. We're pretty much the same. We're the same. We might have different hair, different clothes, or different pigmentation in our skin, but underneath all of this, we're the same people. Same. You got that? Okay.
Mhm.
So right now, what you're learning on TV is scary, because people all over the world are coming to a point where they're really, really frustrated and sad.
Mhm.
And I think the reason why we're so sad is because a lot of people that are African American are just kind of tired and fed up with just a lot of the things that are happening in the world, because like your mommy has taught you, we want to all just be the same and looked at as the same. But unfortunately, sometimes people look at people with different color and they think different of them. They don't think that they're the same. But you guys don't feel that way, right?
You see everyone as people, right? Yeah, that's
Right.
what you mean.
And that's the right way to look at it, because I'm sure when you're playing with your friend Leilani and Sapphire, you guys are just having fun. You don't care about if they're black, if they're blue, right?
That's like Juliana too.
He is tan. He's really tan. How is she tan in the winter?
That is true. That is true. That is so true. A lot of people think I'm really tan, but I never lose my tan. My tan is,
Juliana, like she's tan year round. That's how she sees it. She doesn't
yes,
see it as
and that is a beautiful way to see it. It's just like we're tan all year round. That's all. Let me ask you questions. I'll ask Star first. What would be the one question that you had if you wanted to ask the one question in the world? What would your question be?
hmm? Oh, how to stop the fighting.
How to stop the fighting?
Yeah.
Beautiful question, Star. So,
Sorry.
man down, man down, man down.
She's rubbing up against the phone. Come here. Come
Um,
on.
so Star, that's a great question. There is really no way to stop all the fighting. Um, the only thing that you can do personally is keep doing what you're doing now, and that is being a friend to Leilani and Sapphire. That is, if they ever need to talk or if they have to cry or if they're sad, you just have to be there for them and just hold them, hug them, and just be their friend. That's the best thing you can do. If you ever see anything that makes you scared, let's say you're at school one day and maybe someone's picking on your friends, and you know that this isn't right because your mommy and daddy taught you not to do this. I would just tell a teacher, the biggest thing that we ask for being African American or any person of color is to, when you see something, say something. I don't want you to ever get into trouble. I don't want you to ever get into fights. But if you do see something that you do not think is right, find an adult, tell your mommy, tell a teacher, but definitely don't stand by and just let it happen, because that is almost just as bad as if you were actually doing it yourself. Do you know what I mean? So, what would be the one thing that you could do to maybe stop some of the violence and some of the scaredness? What could you do?
I don't know.
I can give you a really good thing. One day, just out of the blue, I will call Leilani and Sapphire and just tell them how much that you appreciate them and love them, and just think that they're such cool kids no matter what color they are. And I think that that will make a world of difference, because they're probably scared too, and they're probably worried about how people are going to look at them, especially when you guys go back to school, because with everything that's happening, sometimes now it's going to be a little bit scared for them to return back to school because they don't know how people are going to look at them. But if you actually give them the encouragement that no matter what, that you're going to still be their friends and you're going to still have their back, that will make them feel so good.
You got it?
Can you do that?
Oh, good. She just wanted to say the first day of school she made friends with, which one? Sapphire?
Yeah.
With Sapphire.
Yeah.
She
What is
had
it?
more friends.
That's awesome. What is the thing that you like about Sapphire so much?
How nice she is.
She's nice and she's pretty.
She's nice and she's pretty.
Aw, well, you know what? That is something that whenever you feel that way about one of your friends or even a stranger, I always say that there's never a problem if you see someone and you want to give them a compliment. That is always the coolest thing to do. If you find someone pretty, you can say, you know what? I think you're really pretty. If you find someone being nice, you can actually say, like, I think you're really nice. That's awesome. I tell people all the time that sometimes a smile can go a long way.
That's what Tori does. She asks me all the time when we're out. She's like, that person's pretty. Can I tell them? And I was like, of course, I will walk up with you, of course. But yes, you can tell
Yes,
them.
I love it. I love it so much. Any other questions?
No?
How about you, Mom? Do you have any questions about stuff? Or maybe
Um,
things that you've heard or read?
yeah, I do actually, because this will also help me explain to other kids too, like, any friends that they might have, because, when people who don't understand the Black Lives Matter movement, they'll be like, well, why is it just Black lives? Why isn't it all lives?
Oh, I
And
was hoping you would ask. I was hoping that you would go into that. Okay, go
I
ahead.
didn't understand until recently. And I was so embarrassed by it. I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen it this way. And like, it was like upsetting to me because I'm like kind of upset with myself that I didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Don't
I
ever,
just
first, don't ever be upset with yourself, because it's a lot of it has to do with the educational system has failed a lot of us. Hi. A lot of it goes back to they're so cute. A lot of it goes back to just the educational system. Unfortunately, I think probably, Jessica, you and I are very probably close in age. So us growing up in school, we had maybe a week of Black history, and then like the rest of the time it was like the traditional European history. So it makes it hard for anybody to really understand or comprehend the Black Lives Matter movement, because of the simple fact of what we were taught in our educational system. I was fortunate enough that because of my parents being a little bit older in age, my father was born in 1941. So he lived through a lot of the civil rights movement and a lot of the, you know, the true turning point in our history that allowed for Black people to drink out of the same water fountains as a white person and things of that nature.
Remember we told you that they used to have different schools and different
Yeah.
everything?
And that was
Yeah.
called segregation. So it's super cool that we do not have segregation, because if that was still around, you wouldn't even be able to be friends with Leilani or Sapphire or your friend Tori, because they would have made it impossible for you guys to even go to school together. So
I
yeah.
remember couples had to be either all white or all Black, or
Yep.
like Sapphire's mom, how she's white and her
Yeah.
dad's Black.
Yeah.
A long time ago. People
Oh,
wouldn't-
that would have been a big no-no. Back in the day, they would not have allowed for, it's called interracial relationships. They would not allow that. So I don't know who explained it to you, Jessica, about how the Black Lives Matter movement, but I'll just kind of do my quick little spiel. So the Black Lives Matter movement comes from the fact that, yes, I think all lives matter. I think no matter who you are, what religion you are, race, sex, anything, everybody's lives matter. I don't want to see anybody in this world hurt. I don't want to see anybody in this world killed. I definitely don't want to see anybody in this world have to suffer just because of the color of their skin. So with that being said, that's why the Black Lives Matter movement began, because we as African Americans, we just got to the point where we did not feel like our lives mattered at all. Meaning, we were targeted for a lot of the hate crime, a lot of the stuff that you see on the TVs that are scary to you, Star, was a lot of stuff being targeted toward Black people. Do you understand that?
Like, can you imagine going out for a drive and getting pulled over because your skin color? That's what, you know what I mean?
So that's like if you were walking down the street and you were with your friend Leilani, and you guys were just having fun, doing nothing wrong, but then all of a sudden a police officer put Leilani in handcuffs, and you were just like, what's going on? What does she do? We're just having fun. That is why we're doing the Black Lives Matter movement, because unfortunately, because of the color of Leilani's skin can get her into trouble, even if she's doing absolutely nothing wrong. Do you understand that? Have you ever gotten in trouble for something you didn't do? Have you ever had that happen? Like you didn't do anything wrong, but mom or dad were like, you did this?
Right?
I think all kids have at one point or another gotten in trouble for something that they really didn't do. So did that make you, how did that make you feel when you got in trouble for something you didn't do?
How does that make you feel? Like, say if I yell at you for something Tori did, how does that make you feel?
It makes me like mad because I accidentally did it.
Right, makes you mad. Yeah.
Right. So that's exactly how Black people feel when we get into trouble or we get arrested, or even unfortunately in the recent news, people are even getting killed over just the fact that they're just Black. Can you imagine that? If you got in trouble or if you got killed because you were just a little white girl?
Yeah, would that be sad? Yeah.
Yeah.
All because you did nothing, just because you were there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's
that is why we're doing the Black Lives Matter movement. It's because, not because we don't think that all lives matter. I don't want you to ever look at the signs and look at the people protesting and feel as though your life doesn't matter, because your life is just as important as my life, is just as important as my little boy's life, is just as important as Leilani's life and Sapphire's life. Only difference is you're not going to be targeted just because you're white, but they may be targeted just because they're Black.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Uncle, yeah.
So, when we say Black Lives Matter, we just want to target the problem at hand. And the problem right now is just trying to make sure that our little brown boys and girls can grow up to be adults and have successful, fulfilling lives and not have their lives cut short before it's time. What other kind of questions would you have, Jessica?
Any other questions for you guys?
Who started all this?
Who started all this? That is a great question. So I wish I knew the very first person. I wish I knew their name. It goes back over 400 years, though. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint the exact person. Have you guys heard of slavery yet? You guys know what that is? You haven't learned it?
I tried to explain it to them because, I mean, they understand about Martin Luther King because they do have like that whole week in their class that they celebrate, and you know, they talk about him. Tori, stop trying to spill that on me. So they, like, I don't think they're teaching as much in history, like they should, unless it's just like their age. Maybe they'll learn more as they grow.
Well,
it's really say.
So slavery is when, I have another good way to point it. Do you guys have chores? Do you guys have to do chores in the house?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, so let's say this. What do you guys hate to do? If your mom says, go clean this, what do you hate to clean?
My room.
Your room. Okay, I hate cleaning my room too. So let's say this, Tori. Let's say your mom every single day told you to clean every room in the house. Every room in the house every day. How would you feel? Right. You'll be like, this is crazy. I can't clean the house every day. So let's say your mommy made you clean the house every day, but then if you did not clean the house, she would whip you with a belt. How would that make you feel?
Yeah, I don't even smack their butts, so the look on their face was priceless, like.
Right. So
but how do you think you feel? Like scared, right?
Oh, hiding my room. Oh, Halloween.
Oh, I know.
Right. You would try to run away. You would hide. You would be scared, right? So imagine this. Like 400 years ago, a long, 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 long time ago, little girls that were like Leilani and Sapphire, they would be made to do work all day long. They would have to clean things. They would have to work outside in the heat. And if they did not do all their chores, they would get whipped.
Yeah.
Is that for real?
Not anymore, but a long time ago, remember?
Like 489, 400, 2018, 200,000.
A long time ago.
A long time ago, like over 400 years ago.
They put them in that was with a lot of things too. Yeah. That was clean.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this all started, that they used to treat Black people like that. So we didn't have a choice. If you wanted to take a break, you couldn't take a break. If you wanted to take a nap, you couldn't take a nap. If you were hungry, you wanted to eat, you couldn't stop to eat. You had to keep doing what your master told you to do.
Yeah, no. Just imagine how they felt.
I would get hangry.
But imagine going outside on one of our really hot days. You can't swim, and I made you do chores outside all day long.
I would probably like die. I would probably cry.
See?
Or probably cry and die.
Now, let me give you another scary scenario that used to happen. Let's say that you were with your mommy and your daddy, and you love your mommy and daddy, right? Well, let's say that they took them away from you and you were separated, and they made your mom and your dad go somewhere else, and then you guys had to go to another place.
Isn't that sad?
Like, I would miss Daddy, you know.
I
miss you.
I know.
Like, oh, Mommy, not Daddy.
Oh, no. So back in the day, the little Black girls and the little Black boys, they couldn't stay with their mommy and daddy. They were separated. and then they were made to go to one house and do chores while their mommy and daddies went to another house and did chores. And sometimes they would never see their mommy and daddy ever again.
You can't separate kids from mom.
But they did a long time
But you
ago.
can't do it
And
when
that's why that had to end.
I need
Yeah.
to like, are they crying?
Oh, I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
I mean, you?
They were really scared because they didn't know what was happening. All they knew is that they were going to be separated from their mom and dads.
No, I'm sorry.
It's a baby
Girl.
kitty too.
Yeah.
So that is something that was really scary. So here's another thing for you guys to think about. Do you guys like to take the school bus?
No.
No, you hate the school bus? How about this? Do you guys ever call shotgun in the car? Who gets to sit up front?
Not yet.
Yes. Yes.
You like to sit up front? All right. Let's say because of the color of your skin, you were not allowed to sit where you wanted to sit. You were only allowed to sit in the back. You could never sit in the front seat with mommy and daddy.
Say if
And
you
in the
were
trunk.
riding a bus with Leilani and Sapphire, you guys would have to sit separately. You wouldn't be able to sit with her.
So I need to go back and they'll be up front. So they'll be in back and they'll be up front.
Yes. You couldn't sit together.
Nope.
Because that was how it was back then.
Yeah. Because
Don't look, it's not my fault.
so there was a time period where they would not allow to have black people sit in the front of the bus. They had to sit in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
So, but that wasn't just it. You wouldn't have been able to play with any of them. You wouldn't have been able to even invite her over to your house and play.
Yeah, just imagine all those sleepovers.
Oh, Sapphire.
Oh. Now they get it. That's me.
So, and then imagine if Sapphire and Leilani, they came to you and they were like, I'm sorry, I can't be your friends anymore because if I'm your friend, I can get arrested.
How would that make you guys feel?
I would cry for 10 million weeks.
Cry for 100 million weeks?
I'll cry for my birthday. Yeah, me too.
I would cry too because one of my best friends is actually white, and I would be very sad if I wasn't able to ever see her again or ever play with her again.
Right? Oh, you're getting all teary-eyed. Oh, it's okay. Oh, she got a little teary-eyed.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is why I'm telling you guys so that you guys understand how important it is that we stop this kind of behavior. This is why this is so important for us to talk about stuff like this so that you don't ever have to go through not being able to be friends with who you want to be friends with and marry whoever you want to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Does the teacher need to, back then, does the teachers need to pick your friends from the
No, back then there was actually two different schools.
Oh.
Like, you know how here we have East and West?
Yeah.
Now, just imagine if
Leilani.
just imagine if Sapphire and Leilani had to go to the other school and you had to go to this school. And you weren't allowed to hang out.
I went to
Yeah.
like, I don't really have that many friends. And Leilani has no friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see? And now because we live in the world we do today, you get to go to the same school together.
Yeah. And you
So,
And you can ride the bus together.
but this is one of the reasons why you're seeing some of the scary stuff on TV with the protesting and the fighting, because they're fighting for the right to be able to still be able to do that. Otherwise, if we don't fight, sometimes we might go back to the part where we can't be friends with who we want to be friends with. We can't live with people that we want to live with. We can't marry who we want to marry.
No. Remember when they were doing all that stuff in Reading?
So they're like telling people to stop?
Yeah, that we
Yes.
want to make sure we don't go back to those ways of being separated.
Okay.
Yes. So even though it's scary because it's so much going on around you, and even though it's scary because you're seeing all the scary stuff on the news, it's only scary because of how big and loud it is, but the reason behind it is super important. The
Right?
reason behind it is so that you can be friends and you can do whatever you want to do and be with whoever you want to be with. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you might not be able to do that.
are they trying to make black people slaves again?
Oh, she wants to know if they're trying to bring back slavery.
Okay, so I do not think we could ever bring back slavery, but
No.
we are trying to stop.
No.
Mm-mm.
We're trying to stop the ability for people to be judged or mistreated because of the color of their skin.
No. We want everyone to be seen equally.
Yeah.
Kitty killer. Like Juliana, I
Like,
don't want to
yes.
get separated from
No, you're not gonna get separated from Juliana.
I don't want to
worry.
get separated from my companion.
You won't. That's why they're having this movement, because they want everyone to be friends.
Yeah.
And friends.
Nobody
have to-
wants to separate. Let's put it this way. I want everybody to be friends with whoever they want to be. If you want to be friends with Juliana, be friends with Juliana. If you want to be friends with Sapphire and Leilani, I want you guys to be friends with whoever you want to. But that means starting now, you guys have to always remember that we're going to treat everybody the same. And the only time that we have to try to not treat people the same is the way that your mom explained. You treat people the way they treat you. So as long as they're treating you with respect and with love and kindness, you respect them and give them love and kindness.
There was this one time where Star was being bullied, and I told her just to be as nice as she possibly can to this girl, because she was being really mean to
I
her.
was trying to,
and
but you told her she was being nice for a little bit, but then she started to do it again.
Oh, well, but you were still nice to her the whole time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it pays to kill people with kindness. Sometimes if you're so nice, even if they're so mean, sometimes if you're so nice and you rise above it, it will actually have a different change of heart with that person, and they can all of a sudden see the error of their ways and treat you better.
And eventually you guys became friends, right?
I think she started it because the bigger sister was bullying her.
Right. And but
Yeah.
eventually you became friends then, because you were so nice to her, and then she finally was nice to you.
Yeah, because that was just her bigger sister bullying her.
Right.
And making her like really partial.
Right.
Right. So you asked for the started. So it started kind of with slavery. It ended with the civil rights movement. So you guys know about Martin Luther King. I'm glad that you guys were taught about Martin Luther King. He was a big civil rights movement leader who believed in changing the world for better, but in a non-violent way. So he would not like when people hurt each other with protesting. He would not like it when people are vandalizing, breaking things, hurting people. He did not like that. He wanted people to come together in unity, but peacefully and respectfully. Do you guys know what I mean when I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to like make everyone feel
Yeah.
like the same.
Because some people didn't agree with him and they didn't like that.
And then one of them shot him.
Yeah. Oh, kitty.
And that's exactly what happens. Sometimes when you're trying to stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in, other people that don't believe what you believe, they get mad and they want to basically stop you from being able to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, they move a lot.
No.
Oh, trust me, I understand. I remember. But so with that being said, what other questions do you have?
Nothing. I have nothing.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that it finally hit me, which took me this long to realize, which like I said earlier, how I was so ashamed for finally like realizing it, was
Mhm.
white privilege. I was like, I never understood that, because, I grew up, kind of poor. We couldn't afford a lot of things. And I was
Mhm.
like, what is this white privilege? Like I never understood it until, you know, this movement was going on, and I was like, I get it. Okay, I'm not judged by how I look because of my skin color.
Yes, that's exactly what white privilege is. Um, for those that are tuning in and maybe not have heard the definition of just what white privilege is, it's not that I always like to use my own life as an example because I grew up very privileged. I had two very well educated parents. We lived in upper middle class society. I got my first car when I was 16. I got to go to all the dances, had all the clothes. Like, I was very privileged. And I have a lot of friends that were not privileged. They might not have had new clothes. They might have had hand-me-downs, and their parents might have been divorced or even like on drug addicted and things of that nature, where they grew up very, very differently than I did. And when I talk to them, they still don't understand how it is to be Black because they still have the privilege of having white skin. So even though they were not privileged growing up, meaning they didn't have a lot of money, they were privileged in the fact because they were just born white. And being a little white girl in this society makes you very privileged, which is not a bad thing. It's not a
I
bad
like
thing.
We both
Huh?
want to love your hair.
Oh, thank you. It's for Rainbow Pride.
You see? You remember how we talked about love is love?
No.
That's why.
Yeah. This is my Rainbow Pride because I love everyone and I want everyone to be able to be with who they want to be, how they want to be. That's just what life should be, is being happy.
Right.
Yeah. I think you guys are both beautiful little girls. And I'm telling you one thing, if your mommy keeps doing what she's doing, which is educating you and making sure that you guys have the best resources at your fingertips, you guys are going to be productive, awesome people in society. And I feel really comfortable knowing that I have you guys on my side as my allies. It makes me feel very, very, very proud.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome. And at any time, if you guys have any other questions, please do not hesitate. Even if it's about hair, I do hair extensions and all that good stuff.
You just made my little one's heart burst.
So, is there any other stuff, since you understand about what white privilege is, Mom, how do you feel about it now? What would you say if you had a white friend of yours, like, have a debate about what they think white privilege is and how they feel? How would you explain it to them coming from your perspective?
Well, now that I know a lot more now, I can definitely step in and try to be like, listen, it's not what you think it is, because it's definitely not what I used to think it was. Because like you said, I thought it was all about, you know, how we grew up, the money and the clothes and this and that, when it was really all about color.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's just like, you know that saying, treat the janitor like the CEO?
Mm-hmm.
That's my view on things.
Let's see.
So
That's a really good point. And if you were to find yourself in a situation where you see something that is clearly not right, and you know that is based on this person's skin color, how would you want to approach a situation being an adult watching this happen? Definitely with the guidelines that you're in a safe area to do so. How would you
yeah,
want to handle it?
normally I'm very like,
Calm.
yeah, I'm calm too, but I'm very like, I avoid confrontation at all costs, but I really don't like when I see people being bullied. And like, whenever I see something that I'm passionate about, I will get to learn more, just like I'm doing now, just so
Oh my
I can
God.
finally like stick up for someone, like,
Yes.
you know, this way I can actually step up and actually
Yes.
do something.
That is
So,
beautiful.
oh,
That's
thank
exactly
you.
what I wanted to hear you say was, if I don't know if I feel comfortable saying anything, I'm going to educate myself more so that the next time it happens, I'm able to have this dialogue or this knowledge to be able to pass on. Because I tell you one thing, fighting with fists really doesn't solve that much. Fighting with your mind and with knowledge is so much more powerful.
Oh yeah.
Educating yourself is the best form of defense because you know what you're talking about, you know how to handle it. And that is awesome.
And I don't want to just like spit out something. It's like, okay, do I really fully understand this? That's why I appreciate this so much for you being able to chat with us today,
Oh,
because
this is
it expands my mind, it expands their mind. Because
yes.
I consider myself a little bit of a hippie, and I'm
Free love, peace. Yes, I love it.
so
I'm with
save
you,
the earth.
girlfriend. I love it. Peace, love. I love it.
Exactly. So it's like I always tend to avoid like anything that's like confrontational, and it's like I'm just gonna hide in my own little world. But at the same time, like I want to get out there, I want to step up, I want to be able to like be part of this movement and help.
Yeah, well, this is a great start. I feel like if we start with our youth, maybe not in our lifetime will we see a huge change, but if we start with our youth, by their lifetime of being an adult, they might have a rapid change. And that is
Right.
what we always are trying to do as parents. That's what we're always trying to do as parents, is trying to better our future and try to make sure that our kids have like a healthier life to live in, because we don't want to see any of them suffer. We don't want to have worry about any of that. The only thing I would say with you being an ally for me now and taking the time to let me talk to your little girls and let them ask me questions and of course be as adorable as they are, don't let this be a fad. Don't let this be just like it's hot in the news right now, so of course I'm going to be like all about it. I just say make sure that when this dies down in a couple of months that you're still wanting to educate yourself and you're still willing to learn more, pass on the word to maybe a fellow friend or somebody else that might not understand it like you quite understand it. Pass that pearl on, share that wisdom, because that's
Yeah.
what's going to really help. Oh, so cute. You guys love your mommy, don't you?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well,
And like it even helps me talk to like even the elderly too, who still even have that mindset of like, I don't
yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm around a lot of elderly at times. My old job used to be in a nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
and I absolutely adored this one couple because they raised their children on seeing everyone as people.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the true hippies of the day. Like they were out protesting, and they were just beautiful people. And I just adored them.
I was like gonna say, when we went to Canola, we saw this adorable couple, but on this, like the ride,
Oh,
and
she's talking about this elderly couple that went on a roller coaster together.
Aww.
and then he went
Just
down.
because you're old doesn't mean you don't want to have fun. You still want to ride the rides.
And then again.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, I'm all the way here in good old Chicago, and if you guys are ever out down here, definitely make it a point to meet me, and I would love to meet you guys and show you my beautiful city and
Oh,
all that great stuff. Just keep up the good work, Mom. Like, this was awesome. Keep it up. I commend you for even doing this because I don't know too many people that would. So thank you so much for being on Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. Thank you so much for allowing me to just share a little bit of my truth with your daughters. And I love the fact that you're teaching them to treat everybody equal. You're teaching them to stand up for people, and you just want to educate more. And I love it. I love you, and I appreciate you.
thank you so much for doing this again.
Oh, no problem. And you guys are going to be kind of like superstars. I'm going to put you on my channel.
Ooh, what do you say to that, Star? You'll be a superstar.
And let me tell you, people are going to be like, you have the cutest little girls, and they're so sweet, and they're so nice. I can hear it already. And then the kitty came in again. Do you have 3 cats? Did I see 3 of them all together? Or there's only 2? There's 3, right?
At the moment, we have 4 adults, and then the one had babies. So we have 4
Oh,
adults running around.
wow. You guys are kitty central.
And then so once they're all done with their vets, checkups and shots and everything else,
We're
So-
keeping 2.
yeah.
So you guys are gonna be able to keep 2 kitties. I guess there's one for you and then one for your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know
Cat-
what? That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
really good.
We're-
This is baby kitty. Did you name him yet or no?
This is
Yeah.
Morticia.
Morticia?
Yeah. You know,
I
like that.
love it. Yes, I love it. I need a Wednesday too. Where's Wednesday?
We skipped Wednesday, but we got a Katniss.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
Tiny Dancer and Luna.
Oh, awesome. Well, you guys have fun with your expanding family there.
We adopted her.
Well, you hang in there, Mom, and you are a friend for life. And definitely, keep up the good work. You're doing amazing. And
So great to get to know you.
it's so awesome to get to know you guys too. You guys should get into my rainbow contest. You guys have unicorns and rainbows on your shirt. We like peace, love, and all that hippie stuff.
Definitely.
All right, you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for giving me the time to talk to you and share some of my little bit of my love and wisdom with you guys. Thank you for sharing about your friends. Tell your friends when you go to school that I said hi, and I would love to meet them one day too.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun if we had Sapphire over and we did another video chat.
Yeah, I would totally. The next time you have your girlfriends over, you guys let me know, and I would totally video chat. We'll have like a mini slumber party through the Zoom.
How fun would that be? That would be awesome.
And then maybe you and I, Tori, we can talk about hair.
She wants to be a hairdresser, so.
I do hair too. I'm a cosmetologist. I do that, and I'm a nurse.
Oh my gosh. Her jaw is just dropped right now, and she pretended to fake faint.
Oh.
Come here. You're gonna fall in the chair. How awesome is she? Right? Not only is she awesome, but she's a nurse and she does hair.
And I do hair. This would cost too much money to get done in the shop, girlfriend. Let me tell you.
Get that done.
You want rainbow hair?
I'll tell
Yeah.
you one thing. You have to be able to sit for like 13 hours.
I want my
She
hair
can't
like
even sit for 5.
I want my hair like down like under my
Oh, the rainbow underneath?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I'll have to talk to your mommy off screen. Maybe we can make something happen, Captain.
Have fun. Oh, we'll do good colors that won't damage her.
Yes. We want healthy hair. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. You guys hang on for me. Don't hang up, though, yet. Everybody out there that's been watching, thank you for tuning in to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I want to say thank you, a special thank you again to Jessica, and to, I can't see Star over there. She's a little bit off camera. Thank you, Star. And then I want to say thank you, Tori. Bye, kitties. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.